But we want to kick things off tonight with a look at the South bracket where UK remains a force to be reckoned with. It's the rematch all UK fans have been waiting for when UK takes on 4th-seeded Indiana Friday at 9:45 p.m. in Atlanta. Of course, IU gave the Cats their only loss of the season back in December thanks to Christian Watford's dramatic buzzer beater. Indiana beat VCU in a come-from-behind 63-61 win, while the Cats took care of Iowa State 87-71. The other matchup in the South bracket takes place Friday night at 7:15 when number 3 seed Baylor takes on 10th-seeded Xavier. Xavier beat Lehigh 70-58 in the third round, while Baylor took care of Colorado 80-63. This is the fourth Sweet 16 appearance in the last 5 years for Xavier, who have recovered from their ugly early season brawl against Cincinnati. Baylor's in the Sweet 16 for a second straight year, thanks in part to Brady Heslip exploding for 9 threes against Colorado. First, let's talk about the matchup everybody wants to talk about. Probably one of the biggest rematches. I mean, I can't remember a tournament game with, there's so many different storylines here, Matt.
Yeah, with Kentucky and Indiana, I think you go back to the game, obviously, in Bloomington, but it's also, there's a lot of pressure on Kentucky in general when you play a rival, especially a rival that you're supposed to be better than. And then you add to it that they lost there in Bloomington. I actually think I wanted to see, as a Kentucky fan, somebody else. Not because I don't think Kentucky can beat Indiana. They should. But, Mike, I feel like there's a lot of stuff that goes into playing a team that you see every year. The fans kind of chirp at each other. It's sort of, I don't want to say an unnecessary distraction, but it's another distraction for a Sweet 16 game.
I think it is, except that the pressure's on the team that won the first game, not the team that lost the first game. So I've got to think Indiana.
Is that true even when you're a big favorite like Kentucky?
Oh, absolutely. They beat you. There's no ifs, ands. I don't care if you're a favorite or not. They know, Indiana knows they can beat Kentucky. Kentucky has to know that they think they could beat Indiana, and then they put that chip on their shoulder. The other thing is the rivalry over the years between these two schools creates a lot of chirping, as you call it. It creates a lot of pressure. But I like Kentucky's spot. I like their spot a lot. The pressure shouldn't be on them, no matter what anybody says. They have to prove a point, and all they have to do is focus on that. It's not like they have to defend a position, which Indiana does. Indiana won. Pressure's on them to see if they can do it again.
TJ, a lot of people, Kentucky, I know they're saying all the right things about it. We're just trying to win. But Cal, the players are motivated for revenge. Could that be a negative? Could that come back and backfire on them?
No, I think what Kentucky has working for them is what went wrong in that first game is that Terrence Jones struggled. Anthony Davis was in foul trouble, and those are two guys that over the course of the season have become reliable players. So if you're looking at trying to fix the mistakes of that first game, it's defending the three-point line, which Kentucky has done a pretty good job of throughout the season, and getting Terrence Jones and Anthony Davis back on track, which I think we can all assume, unless it'd be a surprise if they didn't do it, basically.
We'll get everybody's Final Four picks later on in the show, but for these two semifinal games, who do you like? Does anybody think that Indiana's going to pull it off a second time?
I certainly don't think Indiana wins. I think it's more likely it's a rout than it's close, but I think it'll probably end up being 10 to 12 points. I actually like Xavier pulling off the upset against Baylor. I think Baylor can beat Kentucky, Xavier can't, but this is exactly the kind of game Baylor loses every year, Mike. They play a team like Xavier, they should beat them, and then the guards get hot and they quit and you lose.
Baylor has a reputation of being a soft team. Xavier doesn't. If anything, they're a pretty hard-nosed team to a negative side with the brawl with Cincinnati. I think that they do have a shot to beat Baylor. I don't think that's good for Kentucky. I think if Baylor played Kentucky and if Kentucky played Baylor, they're going to respect Baylor. They may look down their nose at Xavier. So if that happens, Xavier becomes a tougher obstacle than you think.
What about you, TJ?
Baylor's clearly the more talented team. I agree with Mike. Xavier's tougher, but they also have a better backcourt. And when you get to these games where you're facing a young, inexperienced team like Baylor that hasn't always showed that they're driven, go with the team that has a better backcourt.
Xavier couldn't guard Kentucky, though.
Yeah.
Kenny Freese on Anthony Davis.
That'll be a mismatch. I'm with you. I'm not sold on Baylor either. I like Xavier to get into the Elite Eight game against UK.